Welcome to Fleetsbay Studio. In this video guide, I will assist you through the steps required for successful installation of AMD Radeon Adrenalin Edition without freezing or crashing your system. You may skip straight to the installation steps by clicking on the link as displayed on the screen. We often get to hear about OEM and generic drivers. So, what does that mean? And what's the difference? OEM drivers are handpicked, customized, and validated to resolve platform-specific issues, enable features and enhancements, and improve system stability. These drivers are specially tailored, designed, or customized for OEM PCs and are hence guaranteed to be compatible with your system. But unfortunately, manufacturers' drivers are generally old and outdated, with limited support which is enough to offset any advantages it has. Updates from system manufacturer are not frequently released unlike the generic drivers, which means that we may have to stick to the older version of driver software until and unless they release an update, which almost never happens, especially if your system goes out of warranty. While the generic driver's intention is to temporarily test new features, enhancements, or check if an issue is resolved. Once testing is complete, AMD validates it and releases a stable recommended version. But before proceeding any further, please ensure that you have updated your Windows to the latest version available. You have downloaded and installed the latest version of UEFI or BIOS, made available on the website of your system manufacturer. Here in my case the manufacturer is Dell. Also consider updating the drivers or Intel drivers installed in your PC with latest updates available. It is highly recommended that we perform these updates prior to the installation of any display driver. I would suggest you to run SFC scan now to check the file system and file system metadata of a volume for logical and physical errors. Take a backup of your computer and create a restore point before proceeding with the installations in case something goes wrong. So, without further ado, let's proceed with the steps. Before we continue, just make sure to uninstall the previous version of AMD Radeon software ahead of using DDU software, just to be on the safer side. Here in my case, I have already uninstalled the display software. In case, if it takes longer than usual, or if you have any issues or encounter an error during uninstallation, then just go ahead and skip the uninstallation process altogether by closing the uninstaller without worrying or thinking much about it, as AMD Cleanup utility will handle the rest. Now we will download the latest AMD driver software made available on computer manufacturer's website, even if it happens to be outdated and old. These drivers are specially tailored, designed, or customized for OEM PCs and are hence guaranteed to be compatible with your system, regardless of how old they are. Here in our case, we will browse to Dell Drivers and Downloads Support website and type service tag of the computer. Enter in the operating system you want to install this for. We will select AMD Radeon HD graphics driver for download. Also download the latest available BIOS firmware and Intel driver, in case if you have not updated those before. We will extract the contents to a folder once our download has completed. Create a new folder and rename it to anything of your choice, or just rename it as Dell Display. Meanwhile, we will look for AMD drivers and support for Radeon on internet. Download the Autodetect tool in case you are clueless of what drivers to download or what graphic card is installed. But once you have identified the compatible driver software, make sure to manually download the full AMD driver package instead of express package or minimal setup, in contrast to the download link suggested by Autodetect tool. In our case, we will scroll down to manually select our graphic card. Type in your product name right here. Alright. It seems that the Dell AMD Radeon contents have been extracted. We will be soon redirected to the download page for our graphic device. Scroll down to select your Windows and sort the recommended WHQL version of Adrenalin driver software package down there. We will also extract the contents of this installation file to a folder once our download is complete. Select the destination folder for the extraction of contents. Create a new folder and name it as AMD Display. And click on Install. Cancel the AMD installer immediately once it shows up. Our next step is to run the DDU. We are required to boot our computer in safe mode in order to use DDU utility. DDU stands for Display Driver Uninstaller. DDU or AMD Clean Uninstall utility is an uninstallation tool that attempts to remove any previously installed AMD display drivers, cleans up leftover files, registry entries, and final traces of drivers from the system. We will navigate into AMD Display folder, where we extracted the contents of the latest Adrenalin driver software. Open Radeon Software Adrenalin, navigate into bin 64 folder and run AMD Cleanup utility. Go ahead and click on OK. Alright. Now we will reboot back to the normal mode. Once our system has restarted, we will ensure that the antivirus and firewall is temporarily disabled until the installation of the AMD driver package software is complete. Open Device Manager and expand Display Adapters. And Microsoft Basic Display Adapter should be visible. Right-click on it and click on Update Driver. Don't worry. If you find AMD Adapter instead of Microsoft Basic Display Adapter, just go ahead and right-click on it and select Update Driver. Browse the computer for drivers and select Dell Display, where we had extracted the AMD OEM drivers provided by Dell. This will install all the necessary prerequisites, drivers or components required for OEM computers that are not available in Adrenalin driver package. This should take a couple of minutes to install. Your computer may freeze or cause a blank screen for few seconds during installation. Reboot the computer for the changes to take place. We may have to reboot several times during installation. We will open Device Manager again and select Display Adapters. Right-click on AMD and select Update Driver. This time, we will go to the AMD Display folder, which contains latest Adrenalin drivers, and select Radeon Software Adrenalin folder. And next. Reboot again. We will now go to the AMD Display folder on desktop, where we had extracted the latest Adrenalin drivers. Open Radeon Software Adrenalin and execute the setup file in administrative mode. And click on Install. Keep your fingers crossed in case if your installation gets interrupted in between. Reboot your computer one last time, as soon as your installation is complete. Alright. I hope this addressed your concerns. So, that's the end of our video. Feel free to drop your comments below. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.